is the Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhagavad Gita. So if we really want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we need to concentrate on the instructions of Lord Krishna and not go after the technicalities. Like here, we are hearing so much about the different planetary systems. We should not get stuck on the technicalities. We need to understand the difference between material planets and the spiritual planets. And what should be our goal? Our goal should be to reach the spiritual planet where there is no birth, no disease, no old age, no death. And there's permanent happiness, permanent spiritual life. You see, we all want to be happy, but we don't know where to find that happiness. And instead of trying to reach the right source to get happiness, most people they complicate their lives. In fact, even in spirituality, we see devotees, they complicate the process of bhakti yoga. It's called overuse of intelligence. Asking questions is good, but not weird questions. That's what we learned in Bhagavad Gita also, chapter 4, text 34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. We have to inquire. Yes, we need to inquire, but there has to be the attitude of service, sevaya. Attitude of service is also required. Ask the questions, the right questions, or to right authority, and also accept the answer. I'm not sure if you all have noticed, but I have noticed, that in fact, this year, 2025, my husband and I, we complete 40 years of coming to Krishna consciousness. And in these 40 years, I've come across many devotees. What is their attitude of asking questions is challenging. And if it's not challenging, then it is asking the same question to different devotees so that they can choose the answer they like. That's not proper attitude. When we ask questions, we should be ready to hear the answer. And if we are hearing the answer in parampara, then we know it has to be perfect. That is the beauty of parampara. The authenticity of knowledge is maintained. There is no addition or subtraction. You see, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they are giving us knowledge how to break the cycle of birth and death and go to that spiritual world and do not come back into this material world. But to be able to take on this knowledge, we need to have basic faith. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is good, but do we have firm faith in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Now, we have been hearing Bhagavatam every day. What next? That should be our question. What is my next step? You see, we need to take this human form of life very seriously. Srila Prabhupada says, finish your business in this life and go back to the spiritual world. And not stay in this material world, and which is, Prahlad Maharaj says, chewing the chewed, right? Chewing the chewed. That means a sugarcane, has been totally, we have, removed all the juice from the sugarcane. There is not even a drop of juice left, and that is thrown in trash. And in material world, what people do, pick up that thing that is already chewed and chew, hoping that we'll get at least one drop of juice from it. No. We've been there, done that. Done, finished. So now it's time to realize the importance of this human form. Bahunam janmanam ante. After many, many births, Jnanavan mam prapadyate. Krishna says, those who are jnanis, those who have knowledge, they surrender unto me. So this is a very, very rare opportunity for us to take this human form of life very seriously. There are so many people in this world. I don't know, maybe billions of people in this world. There are so many people in the US. There's so many people living around us. But how many of us are here today listening to the Bhagavatam? Just a handful. Why? Because we are those fortunate ones. It's not by chance that we've got this opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. No. It's because of our past piety, because the bhakti that we have performed in our past, that now we've got this opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what do we do with this opportunity? Become first class devotees. And first class devotion is available to those whose material desires are shunya, zero. When our material desires are gone, that is when pure devotional service will commence. Now, the $1,000,000 question is how to get rid of material desires. We get so many desires. I heard thousands of desires enter into our heads. And then people generally run after fulfilling those material desires. I got to have this. I got to go there. I got to do this. This is the vacation destination I need to reach. And this is how much I need to save. All these desires. Guess what? In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10, nice verse, Akama Sarva Kama Va Moksha Kamo Daradi. Even if one is full of material desires, even if one is without material desires, even if one wants liberation, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we start worshiping Krishna, following the process of Bhakti Yoga, then gradually these material desires will start going away. Krishna may fulfill our material desires, but later on we will understand, oh, this is not what I wanted. I thought this is going to give me happiness, but it did not. So why go after material desires? If you'll remember the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam, he was determined to get a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma because he was insulted by his stepmother. So he went out, 5 years old boy, with so much determination. He went out looking for God because he wanted his material desire to be fulfilled. But when he had darshan of Krishna, he said, oh no, what was I desiring for? I was looking for broken pieces of glass, and look what I found, the most valuable jewel, the Supreme Lord. So basically, our position is same like Dhruva Maharaj. We are looking for broken pieces of glass, but actually, in heart, we want Krishna. That is what we really want, is Krishna. Now, it depends on our desires. Krishna says, I'm in everyone's heart. And from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So we choose. So it depends on what we want and how honest are we with our desires. See? And our material desires, they will definitely be based on our conditioning. Whatever we are conditioned to. If we are conditioned to say, that, okay, this particular object or this possession, if I get, I'm going to be happy, then that is where my mind is going to go. And it's not possible that I'm sorry, it's not that whatever we are desiring is actually going to make us happy. That is why we need to recondition ourselves. We need to recondition our desires. That is the whole process of Krishna consciousness, right? We need to get properly trained by a bona fide spiritual master. When we lead our lives according to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, then we will understand the reality. Then we will understand that all these material desires that we have, we need to get free of them. How? Simple. Dovetail those desires towards Krishna, towards Krishna's service. And when we follow this process of Krishna consciousness given to us by Srila Prabhupada, then it'll help us to purify our material desires. Then the desire to serve Krishna will reawaken. That means it's there in our hearts, but it's dormant. And this process of Krishna consciousness reawakens our desire, our desires. You see? It's like, say, a child is playing in the backyard and is eating mud. Now, if we keep telling the child, don't eat mud, don't eat mud, don't eat mud, it's not going to work. We need to give the child a higher taste. We need to give the child candy or a lollipop or something that tastes better than the mud. Once the child gets the taste of the higher taste, the child will give up the lower taste automatically. Then we don't need to tell. But we need to know what needs to be done. I remember I was in the grocery store recently, and there was this little girl, maybe 5, 6 years old, and she was throwing a tantrum. And her mother was, she was like, I want this and I want that. You know how children do when they go to a toy store or a grocery store? They want whatever, they see, they want it. So this girl was throwing a really bad tantrum. She was laying down on the floor, rolling on the floor, crying, and with her legs up, like a roach, arms and legs up, dangling up there. And the mother and everybody stopped to look at this drama that was going on. And this girl, this mother, she kept saying, calm down, Phyllis. I even remember the name Phyllis. She said, calm down, Phyllis. Calm down. Calm down, Phyllis. So there was this lady next to her, and she said, she's not going to calm down if you keep telling her calm down. She said, no, I'm telling myself. My name is Phyllis, and I'm telling myself, calm down, so I can calm down my child. We forget that, right? We forget that we need to first recondition ourselves. Then we can recondition our family members, our children. When we are Krishna conscious, then we can teach our children to be Krishna conscious. And that makes so much sense. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, there was that wow moment. Oh, wow. Calm down, calm down. First, you calm down. When we have a lot of expectations, and if those expectations are not met, that leads to anger. And when there is anger comes like, I told you to do that, and I want you to do. It's all about us. I, me, and mine. What we like, what we want. And when we have those expectations that are not met, there is anger. And when there's anger, do we calm ourselves down and say, calm down, Gita, calm down. Gita, calm down first before opening the mouth and just blurting out whatever comes in our head. So these senses, they need a better engagement. They need higher taste. And that higher taste will come only when we hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in association of devotees. When we put this theory into practice, which means we heard Satatam kirtayantu mam, always chanting my glories. So we put it into practice. We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So when we engage our senses in Krishna's service, then automatically our material desires will get dovetailed to spiritual desires. A simple example. Today, I feel like eating a pizza. No problem. It's a material desire. But we can always dovetail it. Prepare, make that pizza, offer it to Krishna. Let it become prasadam, sanctified food, blessed food. And then enjoy that pizza. And what is that sanctified, blessed food is going to do? It's going to purify the senses, the mind, the intelligence, and Prabhupada says even finer brain tissues. So what did we do? We had the material desire, but we dovetailed it to Krishna. It became a spiritual desire. Now, that doesn't mean we can desire anything, oh, I want to, eat things that are not acceptable by Krishna, which Krishna is not going to accept. And then I still offer and think it's okay. No. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Krishna will only accept food which is offered with love and devotion. And what are those four items? Leaf, flower, fruit, or water. So we can learn, we can get trained in dovetailing our desires into Krishna's service. And that training we can receive from a bona fide spiritual teacher, bona fide spiritual master whom we call a guru. We have gurus, right, in our day-to-day lives. If I want to learn software, I have to approach a teacher who's my guru. If I want to learn dancing, singing, music, whatever, karate, judo, whatever, kung fu, whatever, I need a teacher. And that teacher is a guru. So why not have a guru for spirituality also? So when Krishna will see our sincere and serious desire to perform devotional service, then and only then he will bestow his mercy upon us. Sincere endeavors need to be there. Not, Prabhupada says, bhakti is not casual. We should not think that here material world is a clubhouse and we've come here to relax. No. We have got this human form of life in this material world so that we can become self-realized and go back to our original home, which is Sanatana, eternal, the Vaikuntha planets, spiritual world. And the more we will perform bhakti yoga, the more we will perform devotional service, the more the desire to perform will develop. Like one time, Srila Prabhupada was asked this question, what is the result of chanting? He said, more chanting. So the more we will chant, the more there will be desire to chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the verse once again, from the forefront of the chest up to the neck of the universal form of the Lord are situated the planetary systems named Janaloka and Tapaloka, whereas Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of that form. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal. So I'm going to end now. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mata Devi. Very nice lecture telling us so much more about the spiritual world and the material world and so many things that Srila Prabhupada talked. He reminded us, of his instruction to try to finish our business here and go back to the spiritual world. This is just a shadow what we're in of the spiritual world, and we're not gonna really enjoy life here. It's not designed that way. So, devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. All right, please go ahead, Devi Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances.
It was
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Um, Wonderful, wonderful points, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very, very
Oh,
nice.
no problem.
So, I have many questions, but I will just limit myself to two today. Um, Number one is you mentioned about sincerity in our practice. So, how to know or what we can do to become more sincere, or how can I analyze myself whether I'm really sincere or not? I might be trying to follow or just going on autopilot to temple, just doing my chanting on autopilot, just doing my deity worship on autopilot. So how to know I'm really serious? And number two, you mentioned very, very important point that we keep on going to temples, we keep on even chanting, we keep on doing things. Um, but what is next? Are we really surrendered to uh, a pure devotee? Are we really are we really listening to the instructions given to us, or just trying to just have a filter where we are only trying to listen what we want to hear? I hope my question is clear, Mataji.
Yes, absolutely. Very important question. So, first is how to know if we are serious on this devotional path. So, I had heard this answer from my spiritual master, and he said that when we see that our material fever is going down, then automatically our spiritual fever is going up, which means we are progressing, which means we are serious and sincere. Now, to see the material fever, we need a thermometer to see what's the temperature. So, similarly, it is our spiritual master who is our thermometer, who can tell us. Now, if the spiritual master is not around to, have one-on-one conversation, then we need to write down in a diary um, all the processes that not processes but all that we are following in our day-to-day life, whether it is chanting, reading, associating, seva, whatever it may be, we write down, and then we go, take each one by one. Say, let's say chanting, then we see, how is my chanting? Is it attentive? Is it casual? Is it, am I chanting? Am I giving the right time? Am I planning my chanting? You know, planning the previous night? Am I focused? So then, if the answer is no, then we work towards it. Then we make a plan. That is called sincerity. We make a plan. Okay, if I am not able to chant in the Brahmo Muhurat, what should I do to be able to do that? Maybe sleep early, maybe sleep less, or whatever it may be. So the planning is necessary. And if the spiritual master is not around in the Vapu form, then we can approach an advanced devotee and confide and say, this is where I am not really up to the mark, what should I do? And they can guide. So that is about sincerity and being serious. Then the next one was, what next? Mostly we stay on a plateau. So in the beginning, when we start our bhakti, Krishna consciousness, we are all fired up. Like, rocket, you burn a rocket from back and then zoom, it starts just going up, up, up. But then most of the time we remain on a plateau. We just stay and we just do the bare minimum that is required because, we have got initiated, we've got some rules to follow and 16 rounds to chant, etc., etc. We just stay there, do the bare minimum, just to, as I say, go by it, pass by it, kind of get it over with, get it over with, kind of that attitude. So if we are on a plateau, just like sometimes the rocket, after it goes up, then it comes down, shh, boom, down on the floor, on the ground. So that is also possible if we are not careful. So as soon as we realize we are on a plateau, we need to work towards it. That no, I need to progress myself. And for that, association of devotees is very necessary. If you associate with those devotees who are all fired up like a rocket, who are just going up, 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 then we will develop a desire to also go up, up, up. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, mother, perfect sense. So very, very practical and doable. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Hey, thank you very much for a wonderful answer. Anyone else that has some
Hare Krishna,
questions?
Mother. Please accept my humble obeisances. All good to show Prabhupada.
Please accept my
Mother
honor.
Gita, thank you so much for, as Dear Krishna said, I can't say it any better. And I mean, it's an amazing class, practical points, really, really nice questions that's coming up my mind. One point, Mother, that I have to thank you so much is when you made this comment that we don't have to get so much into the technicality of stuff. I said, thank you, Krishna. Because my mind is very, when it comes to that, it's simple. And then you say, just know the material and the spiritual. And that's it. I was like, thank you, Krishna. You saved my life again because it just gets too much technicality for me.
There's no end to technicalities.
Yes, Mother.
And our little brains can't even understand all those technicalities. So why talk about it?
I know my brain is very peace. I cannot understand. So when you said it, I said, thank you, Lord, for keeping me to keep reminding me that I don't need to get to the technicalities. So thank you for that, Mother. One question, Mother, that I really that I want to ask, and you really hit the nail on the head. The famous verse 434, the last one, Savior, you know. I think that's a really important question, a point in that verse that when we ask questions, it should be in the mood of Savior. And sometimes we see that that is not the situation. When we have senior devotees, when we have, sannyasis, gurus, we sometimes cross the boundary of familiarity and we don't ask questions based on savior. We get too personal with them. So, what's coming to my mind, Mother, is this here I'm listening to a lecture. I'm not asking a question. Does that mean that I don't have a question in regards to my service mood because I think I'm pukka? Or is it because I did not really listen to the class and don't see any need to ask a question based on my devotional practice? Because that word savior, Mother, in 434 I think, is the key word in that whole verse, for me, at least personally. So, how can we develop that understanding that if I'm hearing a class, what am I to take from it to ask a question based on my service? Or if I don't ask, what does that mean? Because I've heard even Balabhadra Prabhu one time said, if you don't ask a question, that means you've aced it. But that's not the case. So how can we get into that mood, Mother, like that consciousness?
So, as we have heard in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, Krishna says when we worship him with love and devotion, he gives us the intelligence, right? So, it is not up to us, that when we hear that we will understand it. Krishna is the one, he sees our sincerity and he helps us to understand. And one time when I was in, what is that place in Belgium that, what is that place called?
Bangladesh, Mother.
Radhadesh. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. When I was in Radhadesh, we were hearing, I think it was Prahladananda Maharaj who was speaking, giving the Bhagavatam class, and that verse clearly stated where Prabhupada said that anyone who does deity worship on the altar, very, very important, anyone who does deity worship on the altar has already learned all the Vedas.
I'm dead then.
Which means that because that is sevaya, they are doing seva on the altar. So there is no need for them to know all the Vedas. They are on the altar because they have understood the purpose of Bhakti Yoga. They've understood the purpose of the scriptures is to serve Krishna, sevaya. And that's what they are doing on the altar, right? And in that process, if they are missing out on Bhagavatam class, it is okay because they have realized the Vedas. So it is again up to the level of consciousness of each individual. Right? Like for me, I am very happy, chant and be happy. I don't want to know, not want to know. It is not, for me, it's not necessary to know the technicalities, this world, that world, spirit. No. For me, chant and be happy is sufficient. Right? What did Ishvara Puri tell Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Just chant. Right? Just chant. So we know it again depends on our association. It depends on what we are hearing, from whom we are hearing. It depends on how sincerely we are following this process of Krishna consciousness. Based on that is our level of consciousness. So the moment we have good association of devotees, we are in safe hands. Then even if we don't know Sanskrit verses, even if we, it's okay. It's okay. As long as we are able to give this knowledge to others in our own words, of course, as it is, which means we, speak according to what we have heard in the parampara. That's it. Sorry for the long answer, but I got too excited with your question.
Mother, not, I mean, perfect. I mean, longer the better, because I am getting, because sometimes, you actually, I feel that when the answer is longer, we get more from it and more questions, like you just mentioned, the one who does deity worship, and I'm like scratching my head here. One who does deity worship, they've known the Vedas. So and then, because Mother, when you made that statement, it made me realize why Srila Prabhupada wrote, a letter to his disciple, Mother Himavati, saying that, that the level of the standard of deity worship directly affects the community, which means someone that is doing deity worship knows the Vedas, so they should be really pucka in the deity consciousness
Mhm.
to understand that their actions and behavior and the Brahminical conduct, the principles of a devotee being on deity worship, based on that, it affects the congregation. So it really ties in. It's making me think even deeper, Mother. Wow, that's a pretty strong statement by Maharaj.
Mhm. Mhm.
Wow,
And
wow, wow.
also, we should also realize we should not go the other side either. Oh, I'm doing deity worship,
Yes.
so I don't need to read. I don't need to hear. No, no, no. We still
Thank
need.
you, Mother. Thank you for that was my third question. So you read my mind.
Yeah,
You read my
because
mind.
we have a
Because
tendency to find loopholes, and here is a big loophole, right?
to make it easy, like you said, just to get the job done, just ignore it. I was about to ask you that, Mother, but you read my mind. Thank you. Because sometimes we think, oh, I know the Vedas. I don't need to read. I don't, I do deity worship. I don't need to sit in class,
Mhm.
or I don't need to do this. Like we find the shortcut. And I remember Nrsimha Kavach Prabhu saying there's no shortcut when it comes to devotional service. It's just the long road, to Krishna. But yeah, thank you for bringing the last point up, Mother. Thank you so
And
much.
no point. Just because this
Please.
statement was made doesn't mean we become proud. I know the Vedas because I'm doing deity worship. Uh-uh.
Yeah. That is
It's
also another
impossible.
danger.
It's impossible to understand all the knowledge. Impossible.
I mean, Mother, even Krishna says he doesn't even know himself.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we say we know the Vedas?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, to say that is saying that we are above Krishna. The Lord Himself is naparayaham. I'm eternally, indebted to you because I don't know myself. Then
Mm-hmm.
how can we say we know? But yeah, that's a very good point, Mother. Is we shouldn't be puffed up that we know all this information, at the same time not find loopholes, like you said. Okay, I'm doing deity worship, so I can skip this, so I can skip that, or I can shortcut this.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, that even doing deity worship, we should be very pucker and very careful of our character, the principles.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for bringing the point about the questions, Mother. I think it's really important our consciousness to really work on that sevaya mood. Thank you so much. I think I shot too
But
many questions.
I think Aditi Lata had her hand up. So,
Go
Yes.
up. I'm done asking questions, Mother.
oh, that's okay.
Aditi Latamatuji. Please unmute yourself.
Thank
Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for your wonderful class. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Mataji, thank you very much for your wonderful class. It's very enlightening. Although I have one question which I always have is no matter what we do, like we do our whatever Srila Prabhupada has advised us, we try to follow, but we are in Grihastha life, and although we do as much as time we get in our life, I want to progress farther, but I don't know what else I will do. I mean, other than chanting more attentively, that also sometimes I feel like a hypocrite, because sometimes time is running out and I have to do so many things. So how can I do? Because if you say sleep less, then I will probably die because my health will not permit me. So how do I progress that way?
Again, it's setting priorities, right? We need to set priorities, and we can do the best we can. Like Prabhupada says, make the best use of a bad bargain. So if you're having health conditions, problems, or then we work around it, and we do as much as we are able to, right? We don't even want to, like Prabhupada says, the rubber band, the more we will stretch, it's going to snap and break. So there has to be a balance. And if there is a difficulty in balancing the life, then you take guidance from senior devotees and confide and say, okay, these are the issues I have, how can I go around it? And Krishna is in the heart, he knows. We are trying sincerely, we are serious about bhakti, and so it's just setting your priorities. What is it that I want? What is it that I want to do? And then go from there. So guidance would really help, because each individual has different situation, right? Whether it is office situation, a family situation, relative situation, friends, so many different situations. So we need to work around them. And
Thank you, Mataji.
and
Thank you,
whether,
Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
are you still in India?
Yes, Mataji. I just came from Mayapur today because me and my daughter both are having, I think, viral or something. We have been suffering for quite few days. So I
No.
started having rash, so I just came out. Yesterday I met Jayapataka Maharaj,
That
and saw his lecture and attended his lecture. It was
very
very peaceful. Yeah.
Please take
So,
care of yourself. Yes.
yes, Mataji. One more question.
Yes.
So, I know we are not discussing technicality here, but Vishwaroop, like Vishwaroop, as you mentioned in one point, that Vishwaroop is a form of the material form, right? So why do they emphasize on showing Vishwaroop then?
Yes.
Like in
Yes.
Delhi,
Yes.
why
So
is it?
the universal form, Srila Prabhupada explains, is for those who, so just like, I'll give you an example. When we go to the grocery store, we have different options, right? Say, even if you want to buy milk or cheese or whatever, there are different options. Why? Because there are people who they don't have the same choice. They each one has a different. Someone may want cheddar cheese, another whatever it is. So options are given. So this universal form is for those who want to worship Krishna in that form, universal form. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we come to know that Arjuna asked to be shown that universal form, so that he can show it to us that whatever Krishna said, here is the practical. Krishna all along was saying, the Lord, I'm the Supreme Lord, everything emanates from me, everything comes from, etc. So now there is this universal form which is showing that yes, this is true. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that, say for instance, I tell you, Aditi Lata, I am God. So what should be your question to me? Show me your universal form, what is it called? So that is the reason universal form is there. Does that make sense, Aditi?
Yes, Mataji. But people try to, some people are like that. Like I met one person in Shoppers Stop, and I was talking to that person, like, do you chant? Do you know Krishna? And I'm going to Mayapur like that. And then he said, oh, yes, yes, I worship all these deities. I said, yes, but Supreme Personality of God is Krishna. Then he said, yes, मैं विश्व रूप को बहुत मानता हूँ, he said.
Yes.
And then I was thinking, oh my God, now how can I get through him? Because he is confined in that form only, you know? So
Mhm.
that's a confusion which people are having. So I was wondering how I can go through those people, who are
So,
worshipping Vishwarup.
yes. So again, it's a conditioning that whatever we have learned from our childhood, whatever we have been taught, so we are conditioned to that. So to recondition, there is a process, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It's very good that you were preaching to him, but it's not like instant coffee, or 2-minute Maggie noodles, that it'll be done in 2 minutes. It's a process. So we need to give knowledge, and best thing is to give Bhagavad Gita. When they start reading the Bhagavad Gita, they realize the difference between Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and the universal form. So we just have to keep trying. I'm glad you're at least preaching, even in a store.
Thank
That's
you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Eric, it's a wonderful conversation, wonderful exchange. Any other questions? If not, then thank you very much, Mother Gita, for coming on
Glories to
this
Prabhupada.
morning. Start our week right with Krishna consciousness. Then, dear devotees, have a nice rest of your day and rest of the week. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa suniva eva patitanam pavanebhyo
Hare
vaishnavebhyo
Krishna
namo.
Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna?
Mataji.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna, Bhakti Rasa.
Thank you, Gita ji.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Nice lecture always. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Hare
Happy
Krishna.
birthday. Happy New Year, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Glory to the Prabhupada.
All glories.
Jai. Sirupad ki
Jai.
jai. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glory to the Prabhupada.